She strolled into the dealership clad in jeans and a plain white t-shirt, asking about a luxury car. The salesman scrutinized her from head to toe with a sense of contempt. "Apologies, but it seems you've wandered into the wrong area," he scoffed, pointing dismissively toward the door. "The starting price for these vehicles is $300,000. While colleagues chuckled and patrons watched, her cheeks burned with embarrassment. She departed in silence. The following morning, a polished Rolls-Royce Phantom arrived at the dealership's entrance. As the back door swung open, the salesman's jaw fell in disbelief. He was completely blindsided. The esteemed Boston luxury motors glimmered in the morning light. Transparent barriers revealed a collection of extraordinary automobiles that many could only fantasize about possessing. Porsche, Bentley, Aston Martin, Ferrari, each one a pinnacle of luxury, outshining the last in price and prestige. Margaret Collins, affectionately known as Maggie, entered the room, her brown ponytail swaying gently with every stride. Her plain white t-shirt, faded jeans, and understated makeup showcased a woman who prioritized function over flair. At 35, she radiated a serene assurance that stemmed from a deep understanding of her true self. What remained hidden beneath her unassuming exterior was that Maggie was the visionary and catalyst behind the Collins Foundation for Children with Disabilities, an organization that had changed the lives of countless young individuals. Long before she crossed paths with her future husband, she had laid the groundwork from scratch, dedicating her passion and knowledge in special needs development to foster genuine transformation. Upon stepping into the showroom, she was instantly captivated by a stunning midnight blue coupe, ideal for her sister's upcoming 40th birthday celebration. Caroline had always envisioned herself behind the wheel of a luxury car, and after triumphing over breast cancer last year, Maggie was determined to gift her something extraordinary. She had no trouble covering the cost. Her foundation's achievements and individual ventures had granted her a sense of ease, though only a handful were aware of this fact. Across the showroom, Blake Thompson meticulously adjusted his blue tie and smoothed out his navy suit jacket. In his role as sales manager, he took great pride in his ability to identify serious buyers at a glance. Upon seeing Maggie in her laid-back attire, he exchanged a knowing smirk with his colleagues, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. This could be quite entertaining. "Good morning," Maggie greeted with a smile as a young salesman named Daniel came closer. "Welcome to Boston Luxury Motors. My name is Daniel. What particular topic has captured your attention today?" Before Maggie had a chance to reply, Blake effortlessly stepped in. "I'll take care of this, Daniel," he said, then faced Maggie with a rehearsed smile that failed to illuminate his eyes. "Seeking guidance, madam?" And so it was that Maggie's day at the dealership commenced, a day destined to shift viewpoints for all those present. Indeed, Maggie responded with a smile. "I'm quite intrigued by that midnight blue coupe." She gestured towards the $285,000 automobile showcased on the raised platform. Blake Thompson's smile grew more restrained. He had witnessed this scenario previously, individuals meandering in to indulge in fantasies about vehicles beyond their financial reach. As the end of the month approached and 3 serious buyers were anticipated that afternoon, he found himself with no time for daydreams. "That's the exclusive Azure edition." He stated that only 15 were made this year, carefully emphasizing each word as if addressing a young audience. "Maybe I can guide you to our pre-owned vehicle section. They are located in a distinct structure approximately 3 blocks to the east." Maggie observed the way his gaze flicked across her plain attire, pausing on her worn sneakers. She had grown used to such assessments. Many were unaware that she intentionally embraced this lifestyle, discovering liberation in minimalism, even though she had access to vast riches. She continued with a gentle insistence, eager to delve deeper into this topic. "Can we take a look inside?" Blake's demeanor darkened. Behind him, 2 salesmen shared a subtle, conspiratorial look. "The Azure operates solely on an appointment basis," he stated with a deceptive ease. "Serious clients often arrange private viewings." At that moment, a pair clad in high-end fashion made their entrance. Blake's demeanor shifted in an instant. "Please excuse me," he said to Maggie, his gaze averted. "Why not grab a brochure?" Daniel is capable of assisting you with that. He approached the couple with confident strides, arms wide open in a gesture of warmth and invitation. It's a pleasure to encounter you once more, Mr. and Mrs. Harrington. Daniel, the junior salesman, approached Maggie with a contrite smile. He appeared to be no older than 25, and his suit looked a size too big for him. Apologies slipped from his lips, barely above a whisper. Shall I share some insights about Azure with you? I would thank you, Maggie replied. While Daniel animatedly detailed the vehicle's features, Maggie observed Blake guiding the elegantly dressed couple straight to the Azure. With a grand gesture, he swung the door open, warmly beckoning Mrs. Harrington to take a seat within. The very vehicle he had insisted was available by appointment only. Maggie reassured the now uneasy Daniel, saying, "That's perfectly fine. I grasp the mechanics behind these matters." Throughout the showroom, Blake was executing his meticulously practiced sales routine. This specific model currently has an 8-month waiting list, but I've reserved one for select clients. Mrs. Harrington glided her fingers over the supple leather interior. It's beautiful, yet I'm uncertain about the hue. Blake assured her that they could certainly explore custom options. Maggie moved in silently, positioning herself just close enough to listen. "Excuse me," she remarked. "I would like to ask about the possibility of buying this model." Blake's cheeks flushed with color. "As I noted before, this vehicle is currently being presented to these customers," he remarked, his irritation barely concealed. "Maybe you could return at a later date, or, as I mentioned, explore our selection of pre-owned vehicles." The couple exchanged uneasy glances between Blake and Maggie. Maggie expressed her interest in this car with a calm demeanor, as it is intended for her sister's birthday next month. Blake distanced himself from the Harringtons, softening his tone. "While I appreciate the value of imagination, it's important to remember that this is a professional environment. That automobile is pricier than the majority of houses. I have shown considerable patience, yet you are disrupting a valid transaction." A number of onlookers in the vicinity paused to observe the awkward interaction. Daniel lingered nervously at the edge. Maggie stated with poise that she was ready to make a cash purchase today. That was the moment when Blake's polished facade utterly shattered. He emitted a brief, grating laugh that reverberated throughout the showroom floor. Several heads turned at the sight of a cash purchase. "Is that so?" His voice rose in volume, crafted to belittle. "This is not a yard sale. We're discussing a sum of $250,000. Individuals with the means to purchase these vehicles typically do not wear." He waved her outfit away with a flick of his hand. "What is that?" Maggie sensed her cheeks heat up, not out of embarrassment, but from a simmering rage that was steadily intensifying. Not for herself, as she had faced such treatment before, but for anyone who had ever been evaluated based on their looks. She spoke softly, asserting that her money held the same value as anyone else's. Blake moved in, his presence looming above her. "Allow me to clarify," he stated, no longer attempting to conceal his contempt. "Your actions are not only unproductive but also reflect poorly on you. Please schedule a time for a serious conversation, ensuring you are dressed suitably, or kindly exit the premises." The showroom fell into a hush. The Harringtons had exited the vehicle, their discomfort evident. "Is there an issue present?" A fresh voice entered the dialogue. The dealership's owner, Richard Mason, drawn in by the stir. Blake adjusted his tie with precision. "Of course, sir. I'm just clarifying to this lady that we conduct our business by appointment for those who are genuinely interested in purchasing." Richard Mason evaluated the scene with keen insight, noting Maggie's unadorned look and the attentive onlookers. His expression unmistakably revealed his stance. "I understand," he remarked. Maggie provided the name Miss Collins. "Margaret Collins." "Miss Collins, it seems there may have been a miscommunication. Our clients generally grasp the unique nature of our vehicles." "I comprehend completely," Maggie responded, her tone unwavering even as the shame seared within her. "Your sales manager has outlined your policies with great clarity." Blake advanced once more, his tone laced with a patronizing air. "If you truly have an interest, which I find questionable, feel free to reach out for an appointment." However, I recommend bringing proof of funds and dressing appropriately for the occasion. He gestured around the showroom, indicating that these cars are meant for a specific class of individuals. A soft whisper spread among the spectators. A quiet chuckle escaped the crowd. Maggie surveyed the critical gazes surrounding her, noting Blake's self-satisfied smirk and the owner's silent endorsement of his staff's conduct. She had encountered discrimination in the past, but seldom with such overt and public intensity. "Text, I understand," she replied with a straightforward tone. With her dignity preserved, yet her spirits wounded, she turned and made her way to the exit. From behind, Blake's voice reached her ears, lingering just above a whisper. "Certain individuals seem unaware of their proper role." Stepping through the glass doors and into the embrace of the morning sunlight, Maggie retrieved her phone. The sting of humiliation was sharp, yet a small, determined smile emerged on her lips as she began to dial. The Collins estate sprawled across 5 serene acres just outside Boston, its subtle sophistication concealing the vast wealth that lay beneath its surface. Alexander Collins liked it that way. At 41, the innovative thinker had transformed renewable energy storage technology, amassing wealth while keeping a consciously understated presence. As Maggie stepped into his home office, Alexander glanced up from his desk, promptly putting his work aside. 15 years of marriage had honed his ability to interpret her expressions with remarkable accuracy. A sense of unease lingered in the air. "What transpired?" he inquired, stepping around the desk to approach her. Maggie settled into a leather chair, the morning's events flooding back to her with fresh intensity. "It was enlightening," she remarked, a sardonic smile playing on her lips yet failing to illuminate her gaze. She described the encounter at the dealership, the patronizing attitude, the embarrassment, the overt bias. As she spoke, Alexander's face clouded over, yet he held his tongue, allowing her the room to reflect. She reached a conclusion. "It's not about her. I walk away with the privilege of knowing the truth, yet I can't help but wonder how many individuals face daily injustices without the solace of realizing they could have what is being withheld from them." Alexander considered the matter with a thoughtful nod. Throughout their time together, this was what had consistently touched him the deepest about Maggie. Her unwavering empathy for others, even in the face of her own grievances. "So, what are your thoughts on how to proceed with this?" he inquired at last. She confessed that a part of her yearned to take the easy route, to simply purchase Caroline's gift from another place. "Yet, I find myself reflecting on that young salesman, Daniel, who showed me respect no matter what I wore. I often reflect on those individuals who endure such judgment without any means of escape." Her gaze locked onto Alexander. "It's essential for these individuals to grasp that true value transcends mere looks. Yet I seek no retribution. I seek understanding." Alexander nodded thoughtfully, a strategy taking shape. "I believe I may have a concept that achieves both objectives." Maggie cautioned, aware of her husband's instinct to shield, that it was nothing overly dramatic. "There will be no purchasing the dealership and dismissing the entire staff." Alexander chuckled. "Nothing too predictable, but perhaps—" He leaned in, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "A bit of enlightenment is necessary." United, they devised a strategy not for retribution but for illumination. A concept that could shift viewpoints more powerfully than mere punishment. "Are you certain you don't wish to join us?" Alexander inquired about the finalization of the details. Maggie gave a slight shake of her head. "This isn't about my desire to see them face the consequences of their actions. It's about discovering the deeper truths that lie beneath the surface." She took a moment, then said with a grin, "But I anticipate a comprehensive update." As dusk enveloped their residence, Alexander initiated a series of phone calls, orchestrating plans for the next day. "Tomorrow will unveil a profound lesson in humility and the perils of making assumptions. Not solely for Blake Thompson, but for all at Boston Luxury Motors. If this tale captivates you, consider subscribing and becoming part of our community of narrative enthusiasts. Now, let's return to uncover what unfolds next." The next morning dawned with flawless weather, as if painted by an artist's hand. Blake Thompson walked into Boston Luxury Motors with an assured gait, adjusting his distinctive blue tie. The incident from yesterday involving the underdressed woman had transformed into a delightful story he recounted while enjoying drinks with his colleagues. Another misguided visionary believing she was meant for the realm of opulence. The showroom sparkled beneath meticulously arranged lighting. Exquisite automobiles positioned with precision to enhance their captivating charm. Blake had just wrapped up the morning staff meeting, highlighting the crucial need to properly qualify customers. Keep in mind, he had advised the sales team, our time holds great significance. We serve a distinct group of clients. It's not about exclusivity, it's about effectiveness. Daniel, the young salesman, sat silently throughout the meeting, his unease unmistakable. Blake resolved to discuss the importance of proper customer assessment with him. At exactly 10:17 a.m., the unique hum of a remarkable engine captured attention from outside. Through the expansive windows that reached from floor to ceiling, a vehicle unlike any other smoothly came to a halt right at the main entrance. Dialogues came to an abrupt stop. Even Blake, usually indifferent to opulent cars due to his constant exposure, sensed a rush of excitement. A luxurious Rolls-Royce Phantom. It's an extended wheelbase, but this isn't just any Phantom. This was a bespoke creation featuring a distinctive midnight blue hue that appeared to change shades under the sunlight. Conservative estimates suggest its value exceeds $1.2 million. Could it be? Richard Mason, the proprietor, had stepped out of his office, intrigued by the abrupt stillness. The bespoke Phantom, Blake affirmed, was already gliding toward the entrance. Uncommonly unique arrangement. A chauffeur in a crisp uniform stepped out of the Rolls-Royce, moving with meticulous grace to open the rear passenger door, his white gloves gleaming in the light. A figure stepped out of the vehicle, exuding an air of authority. Lofty, elegantly attired in a bespoke suit that subtly hinted at its extravagant cost. His salt and pepper hair was impeccably styled, and his posture exuded a natural sense of authority. Blake's persuasive instincts surged to the forefront. This was more than just a promising opportunity. This was the type of client that dealerships vied for. The type of buyer whose acquisitions encompassed more than a single vehicle, hinting at a potential partnership valued in the millions. Greetings, sir. Welcome to Boston Luxury Motors, Blake announced, stepping in to greet the esteemed guest before any other salesperson had the chance to engage. Blake Thompson, sales manager. We are truly delighted to have you here with us today. The man looked at Blake with a mysterious expression, then gave a courteous smile that seemed to lack genuine warmth. Alexander Collins, he said succinctly, extending a strong handshake. Blake's thoughts surged with intensity. The name rang a bell, yet he couldn't quite pinpoint where he had heard it before. Nonetheless, the Rolls-Royce conveyed a great deal about the man's financial standing. Mr. Collins, it is genuinely a privilege. What brings you to our modest venue today? Maybe I could present to you our latest editions. A limited edition has just arrived. Alexander lifted a hand just enough to pause Blake's well-rehearsed delivery. I'm reaching out regarding a particular vehicle, the Azure Coupe in a striking midnight blue. Blake's smile widened. Outstanding selection, my good sir. Only 15 of these were made this year. I would be thrilled to share that with you. It's positioned directly over. I know where it is, Alexander interjected with a calm assurance. My wife visited yesterday and showed some interest in it. Blake maintained his customer service smile, yet a hint of confusion danced in his eyes. Your spouse? I can't remember. Maybe one of my coworkers helped her out? Alexander's demeanor shifted subtly. Indeed, Mr. Thompson, you were of help to her. Or rather, you chose not to lend her a hand. Margaret Collins. She donned a pair of jeans paired with a crisp white t-shirt. It was proposed that she could feel more at ease exploring the option of pre-owned vehicles. Blake's complexion paled as the truth began to sink in. From behind, a soft gasp escaped Daniel, who had been lingering close by. Mr. Collins, Blake faltered, his typical eloquence slipping away from him. It seems there has been a mix-up. All customers are warmly welcomed here. At this point, Richard Mason had come closer, aware that something was unfolding. Is everything okay? Blake? Alexander focused his gaze on the owner. Mr. Mason, I take it? Is it Richard Mason? Absolutely, without a doubt. Welcome to Boston Luxury Motors. Thank you very much. I was just telling Mr. Thompson that my wife came by yesterday, looking to buy the Azure Coupe as a present for her sister. She was, nonetheless, subjected to a treatment that I find concerning. Richard's demeanor changed swiftly from warm to worried. It's unfortunate to hear that. I think I participated in a discussion for a short time, but I didn't have full knowledge of all the specifics. Alexander considered deeply. The specifics highlight your sales manager's presence, implying that individuals like her are out of place in a setting like this, merely due to her informal clothing. A small crowd had formed by this point, consisting of fellow salespeople, support staff, and a handful of early customers. The showroom was enveloped in an eerie silence. Mr. Collins, Blake started, a hint of urgency lacing his words. If there was any misunderstanding, it wasn't a misunderstanding, Daniel suddenly interjected. Every gaze fixated on the young salesman, who appeared taken aback by his own audacity. Miss Collins faced unjust treatment. She expressed her interest in Azure with clarity and courtesy, yet she faced repeated dismissals due to her appearance. Blake cast a scathing glance at Daniel, yet the harm was already inflicted. Alexander glanced over his shoulder at Richard Mason. It's quite fascinating, isn't it? My wife established and manages the Collins Foundation, dedicated to supporting children with disabilities. It has been her passion and dedication long before our paths crossed. She has successfully secured more than $50 million for specialized medical equipment and educational initiatives. He took a moment, allowing the weight of this to settle in. Maggie opts for a simple style, holding true to her belief in modest living, regardless of our circumstances. She believes it maintains her bond with the families she supports. It's just one of the many reasons I adore her. Richard Mason had turned ashen. Mr. Collins, I can assure you that this does not represent the principles upheld by our dealership. We take great pride in the belief that actions carry more weight than mere mission statements. Mr. Mason, Alexander interjected with conviction. Now, concerning the Azure, my intention isn't to acquire merely a single vehicle. Blake's spirits lifted a bit at this, a flicker of optimism cutting through his turmoil. I intended to buy the Azure for my wife's sister, as Maggie had planned, but I was also contemplating a replacement for our corporate fleet, which consists of 7 vehicles, and my personal collection could benefit from some updates too. Mason's eyes grew wide. A transaction of that scale would allow them to meet their quarterly targets all at once. Nevertheless, Alexander went on, I can't help but wonder if this is truly the appropriate venue for such a considerable investment. The stillness in the showroom was complete. Blake appeared to be in a state of distress. Mr. Collins, Richard began with urgency, I cannot express my regret enough for this unfortunate incident. I can guarantee that this is not the way we operate. We kindly request the opportunity to rectify this situation. Alexander paused to reflect on this for a moment. Perhaps a path lies ahead, he concluded, but it would demand more than merely selling me vehicles. Absolutely anything, Richard promised him without hesitation. Next month, the Collins Foundation will be hosting a benefit gala. We are seeking support to develop a new adaptive sports facility designed specifically for children with physical disabilities. Blake turned to the embarrassed sales manager. Your presence seems to promise a wealth of knowledge. Blake gulped with difficulty. Sir, Alexander made it clear that he was not a guest. The foundation is constantly seeking individuals to volunteer, to help with setup, to support the children, and to witness the impactful work being accomplished firsthand. The consequences were unmistakable. This had evolved beyond merely selling cars. It was a journey toward understanding a core principle of human worth. Furthermore, Alexander elaborated, turning to Richard Mason, the dealership could explore the possibility of introducing a training program focused on unconscious bias. I am acquainted with a number of outstanding consultants. Richard nodded with conviction. Certainly, we would embrace such an initiative. Regarding the vehicles, Alexander directed his attention to Daniel, the young salesman who had interjected. Please take care of all the paperwork, beginning with the Azure for my sister-in-law. Daniel's eyes widened at me. I appreciate your kindness, sir. I would be truly honored. Good, Alexander declared with a sense of conclusion. Shall we delve into the details of the corporate fleet? As they approached Mason's office, Alexander stopped in front of the Azure, gliding his hand along its smooth surface. My wife has impeccable taste, wouldn't you agree? Behind them, Blake Thompson remained still. His once flawless reality irrevocably changed. The stark reality had finally revealed itself to him. His true character was unveiled not through his interactions with those he deemed significant, but rather through his treatment of those he considered insignificant. A month later, the Collins Foundation Benefit Gala turned the Grand Boston Hotel into a vibrant celebration of potential. Families of children with diverse disabilities interacted with donors, healthcare professionals, and advocates. At the entrance, Blake Thompson, clad in the event staff uniform instead of his typical sales outfit, guided guests and helped a young boy in a wheelchair. The previous month had transformed him deeply. His volunteer work at the foundation began as a duty, the cost of expert endurance. Yet, an unforeseen revelation unfolded as he observed the trials these children confronted each day and the grace with which they embraced them. From across the room, Maggie Collins, poised in a modest blue dress, made her way toward him. Even with the knowledge of her identity, Blake found himself once more captivated by her genuine simplicity. What are your thoughts on the experience, Blake? She inquired. He pondered the question with great seriousness. It was a humbling moment, and one that was necessary. Maggie gave a slight nod. She noted that Thomas appears to have developed a fondness for you, pointing to the boy in the wheelchair. Blake shared that he's learning about adaptive basketball. It seems that my form leaves much to be desired. This elicited a heartfelt laugh from Maggie. He is a straightforward coach. Blake's demeanor shifted to one of gravity. Mrs. Collins, while I've expressed my apologies in writing, I feel it's important to convey them to you personally. I sincerely apologize for my behavior towards you. No justification exists. She conceded without a hint of malice, acknowledging the truth in his words. The inquiry revolves around the knowledge you've acquired. He reflected that true worth isn't defined by looks, status, or material things, and that every individual is entitled to respect until they demonstrate otherwise, rather than the opposite. Maggie recognized the valuable lessons. I can only assume they are quite costly as well. Blake nodded with a hint of regret, reflecting on the significant business the dealership had forfeited when Alexander Collins opted to buy just the Azure and passed on the extra fleet. It's absolutely worth every penny, he said with genuine conviction. From across the room, Alexander approached, softly resting his hand on his wife's shoulder. Maggie explained that Blake was merely offering some of his thoughts. Alexander gave a slight nod. I understand you've taken a significant interest in the adaptive sports program. Absolutely, sir. I've decided to extend my volunteering commitment beyond the required period. He paused for a moment, then continued, mentioning that he had been collaborating with Mr. Mason to enhance our customer strategy at the dealership. Appearance no longer dictates qualification. I'm pleased to hear that, Alexander remarked, then caught Blake off guard by adding, which brings to mind that corporate fleet I mentioned, we're still looking into it. Maybe you could take care of that transaction. Daniel has expressed great appreciation for the guidance you've been providing him. Blake's face reflected surprise before transforming into heartfelt appreciation. I would be deeply grateful, Mr. Collins, genuinely grateful. As the evening progressed and the event began to wind down, Blake observed Maggie and Alexander Collins engaging with the guests, not showcasing their affluence or power, but instead forming authentic connections with each child and family. He contemplated the profound shift in his perception. A month prior, he would have brushed off someone like Maggie Collins due to her laid-back look. Now he realized that genuine worth extended far beyond brand names, high-end vehicles, or prestigious positions. As Blake assisted Thomas back into his wheelchair following a photo session, the boy beamed up at him. Do you know, Mr. Blake? You're quite impressive for someone of your age. Blake beamed with joy. Hearing that from you, Thomas, truly means the world to me. It's the most meaningful praise I've had in ages. He truly meant it. It's a common tendency for us to form opinions based on what we see, isn't it? However, as Blake Thompson found out, delving deeper can uncover remarkable individuals and transformative possibilities. If this tale struck a chord with you, please tap that subscribe button and become part of our community of narrative enthusiasts. We invite you to share your insights in the comments section below. Have you ever formed an opinion about someone solely based on how they look, or found yourself on the receiving end of such judgments? Your experiences could serve as a source of inspiration for others. And keep in mind, the genuine indicator of richness is not tied to your financial balance. It reflects on the way you engage with others when you believe that no significant observer is present. Until our next tale, where yet another profound lesson is in store.